Welcome back everybody, Chris Bricks here, and today, new shirt, new day, new build. But before we get to any of that, I have a little bit of news. Today, when I checked out my account, we are at 50 subscribers. Now I know in the grand scheme of things that is nothing in YouTube land. People can get 50 in 10 minutes, whatever. But the fact that this channel has 50 subscribers as of this morning, absolutely mind-blowing for me. Like I always say, I never expected to have maybe 3, 4, to be honest. I'm just a guy here building Lego sets, showing you a time lapse of it and giving you my thoughts. But that is absolutely amazing. And I appreciate every one of you that subscribe, you comment, I like the back and forth. And honestly, I want to see what you guys are building also. So don't be shy. Hit me up on Instagram right here. And from there, share your pictures. Show me what you're building. I'll repost it. I think that's awesome. It's a great community. So I just want to put that out there. We're at 50 subscribers. Absolutely amazing. I cannot believe it. And I hope more of you will continue to join us as we go through all these different sets, these different brands, and everything that hopefully we have planned for the future, right? All right, back to building. So last week, we built the Mattel Hot Wheels 63 Corvette Grand Sport race car. We went race car route because race car. And race cars, you can see the wheels are kind of shiny. If you do the race car route, but you could also put them on the normal car. You don't have to use the other rims. But those ones in particular are actually metal, which I really like about it. And if you want to find out what I loved about it, because there were some great things that I think Lego could take away from what they did with design elements, but there's a lot of things I think they need to learn to really get it to that Lego level, or even those other like Blue Bricks, kind of that level. There's some, well, check out the link below. You'll see my whole review of it, because today we're focusing on a new set. So what are we building today? Here was our hint from last week. And if you know the game, maybe you know the set I'm going for, because I love that game. Kirby's Dream Land. Man, I used to play that all the time. But what did I play it on? Well, if you see the screen, you kind of know. Bam, that's right, the Game Boy. That was probably my most popular game I actually played on the Game Boy. And that's why I used it for the hint. I understand this one. You have Zelda and Super Mario Land. I don't know why. Man, I'm getting old. It's getting difficult to read on the back of that for some reason with the red and blue script. But those two games never actually played on the Game Boy, But Kirby's Dream Land was one I played, and I absolutely loved it because the guy ate everything and then spit it out. It was just fun. It was a fun game. So, the Game Boy, I just had to build because it was something from my childhood. It was one of those nice things I had growing up. And so this one's 421 pieces, so it should not be that long of a build. It was almost like 2.5 hours for about 940 pieces, however many were in that set. So I imagine this one should be around an hour and a half, maybe. We'll see. Hour and 10 minutes. But I am looking forward to this. When I saw this set came out, even though it's not automotive or spacecraft or, the Concorde was moved to the other room. I'm ordering a little holder for the wall for it. Not the full frame, because the frame's pretty expensive, but we got a holder for it, so at least it can mount to the wall. Probably right around there, I'm thinking. But we'll see where I get approval for that. But when I saw this, like I said, I had to get it. When you flip it around, so you get the Zelda game, the Super Mario Land game, and they also give you little inserts to make it look like it's actually playing. And I've seen people rig it to where they could actually play it. I don't know if that's AI generated or what, but that's pretty awesome. I'm not going that far. So the neat thing about this is they include the game cartridges that slot in. I absolutely love that aspect of it. And of course, I can't wait to see how this looks. So why don't we open the box and see what's inside? All right, bag is open. And honestly, not too much to it, as you expect with 400 and some pieces. So it's broken into 5 bags with one extra bag that has a couple of little spare pieces, which I'm sure we'll incorporate somewhere along the build. I actually like the book. It's got that, classic kind of look and color feel to it. I can't describe it. When I saw this, I'm like, oh, this is Game Boy. Besides obvious name and picture, but the feel of it, the white, simple, look to it. And then you have the Lego version right here. And then on the back, you have the real version, which I really like. I appreciate that. About 100 pages of build, if I haven't already mentioned that. But really cool. They have some of the old school advertisements in this, as well as the inner workings of what this looks like. So it's almost like you're building the electronic device with how they set this up. Pretty awesome. I'm getting excited for that one, man. And of course, they even took the circuitry of inside of the little, cartridges as well. Love that detail. That's something I love about Lego. They put those little Easter eggs. They put those details that nobody's ever going to see when you put it together, but it's there because you put it in there. And I absolutely love that. That is something Lego does better than anyone else, to be honest with you. Well, as far as the sets I've built, maybe there's someone out there that you know of. Put it in the comments. Let me know if there's another set I should check out for that kind of thing. But, it gives you about the games. This is one of those booklets I'm going to keep. The pages are a little thin, not as tissue paper as the Concord, but they are thin. However, with all this extra, info that I absolutely love when they put in, this is going to be one of those keeper ones. So, now you're looking at it. You see all this Game Boy stuff written everywhere, the numbers, the letters. How many stickers are there? Well, Lego, you hit another home run, because there's only 2. That's right. The back of the cartridges. Now, these are very important stickers because if these are crooked, they're going to look janky in there and displayed. So you better get them right because they are big stickers. However, that means everything else is pre-printed. And I already kind of saw that with the battery backing. Yeah, they included the battery backing to it, where you put the batteries in the original Game Boy, but right there. You can put the little clip. No stickers for that, no stickers for the name. That is awesome. I love that aspect of it. And it also saves time for the build because you're not like, crooked, peel off. Hopefully I don't destroy the sticker. So, overall, this looks like a pretty straightforward build. Another thing I always appreciate, and you'll notice from some of my videos, I love when they use vibrant colors in sets, even if you're not going to see them. I don't know why. It's just cool to see different colors that are available. And sometimes you get extras, so you could throw them into your Lego bin to build whatever you want out of it, So, 5 bags, 100 pages of build, only 2 stickers. Let's get this started. Bag 1's complete, 3 minutes and 36 seconds. Very quick bag. You're left with about 2 little round pieces and that's it. And you built your first game cartridge. And you have Super Mario Land. Looks really cool. And it has a little connector on the bottom you can see here. So that way when you build this stand, you can just set it here and it becomes a nice little display for your case and everything. Kind of sits like this. And in case you're wondering, you have the screens associated with it. And these are really cool screens. I thought they were just static screens looking at the box. They're actually holographic. So you can see, he moves. It's almost like you're playing the game itself. Honestly, there's one for Nintendo, which I'll show it now. Why not? This one's pretty cool how it comes in. That is pretty awesome. I am so glad that they did that where it's a little more interactive than just a static screen. Bravo to you, Lego. Really cool idea. And this cartridge, man, it takes you back looking at this. All you need is to have this little indented a little bit, so you got that grip to plug it into your Game Boy. Man, brings me back quite a long time. But pretty awesome. I'm assuming, well, I thought Bag 2 was going to build the Zelda game, but looks like we're going right into the Game Boy now. So let's get on to Bag 2. Bag 2 is done. 13 minutes 40 seconds, and as you can see, we're starting to build the inside and the back side of the Game Boy. They did an amazing job making this look, pretty accurate. How it would sit is like this. You pull the tab, you put the batteries in. It was a bunch of AA batteries, but the look and feel, this thing looks good already. I can't wait to get this thing together. And the cool thing is they use a lot of colors that you would see like on microchips. You got kind of like the bronze, the gold, the green of the circuit boards and stuff. And that is just a nice little touch. It almost makes you feel like you're some kind of electrical engineer or, an electrician or something to that effect where, I'm sorry, I can't think of the official name of the personnel who put together, circuit boards and microchips and everything like that. But it makes you feel like one of them, which is a pretty cool thing while you're building your Lego set. A lot of little neat tricks that you're like, well, why did they do it this way? Why do they have it, kind of entered into the side there instead of just putting it directly on? And I'm curious how it's going to end up in the end. Lego sometimes always puts those little quirks in how they put the pieces together, and you kind of question it, but in the end you're like, oh, that's why they did it. And I'm curious when it gets to that point when I see this and I'm like, the light bulb's gonna go off. Now for Bag 2, you got about 5 little pieces, so if you don't have any of these little small pieces, check the bag, check the box, check the floor, because it's somewhere in there. So let's open up Bag 3 and let's build. Bag 3's done. You're looking at 18 minutes. And this still looks the same, but look what we got on the front. That's right. It doesn't look like much, but there is a lot, as you can see, the different layers that went into how this works. And after building this, you gotta look at Lego Man and be like, they must be paying these geniuses a fortune, because these aren't simple buttons or pieces that are just stuck on here. These are functional. Now, they don't power it because it's not a real electronic, it's still a Lego set, but they give that sense of functionality. As you can see, we got a direction pad, and look, that's right. It moves just like the original one. See how it pushes out in that? Then we have the power, or the start and select button, which push down, which they slotted in these little rubber, like, looks almost like wheels for one of the jet plane sets, but because they squish, it almost gives that feeling of like you're pressing select, pressing start. And then we have these buttons that, see? They come back up. That's right. You have a little rubber band, a little O-ring that you get in this box, and that sits behind them, so they come back. So really, even if you're not really playing on this set, you still get that feel of it. You know, you get that tactile feel of buttons functioning. They're coming up, you're pressing them, you're moving them, direction pad, and it's just awesome. It is awesome to think that someone thought of this. And honestly, putting this together, you even got the headphone jack for the old-fashioned headphone jacks. I know a lot of younger viewers aren't going to understand that one, but yeah, plug in your headphones, none of this wireless stuff, old-fashioned. But it's just little things like that while you're building it. And actually how you put the pieces together and you build them upside down and they just happen to work out and connect in a certain way as you're farther into the steps. It's just mind-boggling with this set. It's not difficult at all. Very straightforward set. But how they get all these pieces to go, I don't know how they engineered that, I'll be honest. Did AI create it? I don't know, but whoever did this, bravo to you. That is crazy, but it is awesome, absolutely awesome. So let's get the rest of this built. So let's move on to bag 4. Bag 4 is done, just under 12 and a half minutes, and you have finished your Nintendo Game Boy. That's right. Bag 4 finished this off, and man, it looks good. All the way around, it looks like the legit Game Boy. It feels like it. Like I said in the last bag, you got that button functionality. We have a screen in there, so now you could see the Nintendo symbol going up and down as it would come down when you would start up the game. They also got little rollers in here, little gears for the contrast as well as the volume side, which is a nice little touch. Didn't have to have it, but they did. Well, I guess if they wanted to duplicate this, they have to have it, but it's a nice little touch. I like that all the buttons function in the sense of they move. They make it feel like a real Game Boy. You know, I have buttons that I can press, direction pad that I can hit. I can press the start, select. I can move the contrast volume. They knocked this one out of the park. And even better, look at everything on the front of this. All that was printed on. I didn't have to put a single sticker on any of this. The only sticker you're putting on is this one. And then in bag 5, when we build the stand and the Zelda cartridge, that's it. Only 2 stickers. So the rest of this is printed on. And I think that's a lot better idea because it just looks better, especially when you have a sticker split over 2 pieces, and there's some Speed Champion sets that do that, and it looks terrible because the word is split mid-piece, but then you got a huge gap because of the break point of the piece. This is a much better way to do it. I hope LEGO continues doing this with a lot more of their sets, especially when it comes to stickers. But, you can see on the back here, printed on, printed. 2 stickers in the whole set. What is there to hate about this? You got to build what looked like the inner circuitry of a Game Boy. You get the functionality of the buttons. You even have a screen, a holographic screen that makes it look like it's on. Cartridges. This one's upside down, but you get the point. Like you're actually playing a game. But anyways, we got one more bag. We got to build the Zelda cartridge, and then this set is done. So let's dig into bag 5 and get this Game Boy finally finished. Bag 5's done, 4 minutes, 17 seconds, and as you can see, it's done, all of it. So, bag 5, you build a nice stand for the Game Boy, which is a little hard to see when it's all black pieces on here to make out the details, but you can kind of see. And the holder is right where the headphones would go, so you throw it on there. Nice. I like when the fact that it came with its own little stand like that, kind of like the cartridge as well. So where's the Zelda? Well, right there in the back. Okay. Comes right out just like the real thing. Maybe I want to play some Super Mario Land, right? So we pull that off. And there you go. And it holds in there. So you're wondering about the screen, right? Because we have 2 other screens to choose from. We got a Zelda one, and we got a Super Mario one. So, when you do that, take out the cartridge, you pop off the little backing for where would be the battery, and you can see this little arm comes out. And that's what's actually holding these little holographic images on to the front glass piece. See, as you can, or it's just gonna make me a liar, but come on. Apparently these hold in really well without the arm as well, as you can see. So we have Zelda. We'll throw in Zelda here so you can see. Put it in there. I put the arm against there, and you can kind of see because of the overhead light, it shines through it, and you can see the arm attaches to the back there. Then we'll go ahead and put on our battery cover, not upside down. And then plug our Zelda in. And now you have Zelda, which try not to get all the glare, which you're going to get. But really cool set, I gotta say. And overall time on this is 52 minutes flat. That is quicker than some speed champions that are like 50, 60 less pieces than this. I don't know if it's because I was super eager to build this or I just had a lot of fun building this. This is a very fun set. A lot of little pieces that go together and you're like, how is this going to work? And then it comes all together. It's, like I said earlier, it's just, oh, that's why. And a lot of this was that. Once I started putting the side pieces on, the little gaps for the volume and the contrast knobs. Oh, why do I have 4 of these pieces surrounded? Oh, that's why, so I can make a functioning, button. There's so many neat little tricks to this set that I recommend it to anybody. Maybe you never had a Game Boy, maybe you never cared to because of, you're young and didn't have these as your video games back in the day. But this set is really awesome. I have to say, I have to give Lego credit where credit is due. And they even included this. So right here, they have this, so it could breathe and everything. But right here, you could tie a little a string or a little thing for your wrist or a little holder. So it would tie through here and that way you can hold your Game Boy on your wrist or attach it to whatever else. But they even took the time to include that little detail until now looking at the camera, I completely forgot about. So they knocked it out of the park with this. This is just really, really awesome. Between the headphones and see, as I'm looking at this, I'm finding out more and more. So you got the off and on button right there. They have a little slide for it to turn it on, off. I gotta say, I know I built a lot of vehicle sets on this channel, pretty much all I've built so far, but I gotta say, this one is probably one of my favorite sets I've put together. Now, it doesn't quite beat the DeLorean because I love that movie, one of my favorite all-time movies. Love Mr. Fusion on the back of it, can't complain, but this is an awesome set. They did a great job with design, engineering, functionality. I keep mentioning it, but how can you not? It's not just static buttons that just look the part. They play the part, which is really cool. So if this is the kind of thing you're into, definitely recommend you get it. And not only that, it's not like they gave it to you and they're like, oh, where do I set it? How do I make it stand? What should I do with it? They let you build stands with it. So that way you can hold your pieces and you don't just have them laying around or collecting dust in some fashion or another. You can actually put this on your shelf and display it together like that if you really want to. Now they do make cases for this, which I may look into as well. I know I keep saying that because they make some nice cases for these Lego sets these days. But very awesome. So happy I built this. And if you like Legos and don't have this in your collection and you're okay with this style of set, get it. Definitely worth it. Under an hour. I honestly have nothing negative to say about this set. Love it. Absolutely great. So, that means we move on to next week. What are we going to build? Well, here's your hint. And it's not going to be much of a hint, you know what it is, because I put on my Instagram, my wife, who's been searching for it all year, finally found it and brought it home a couple weeks ago, and I've been itching to build it, and of course I'm going to build it. So that's going to be for next week. But if you enjoy what you see here, like I said today, 50 subs, absolutely awesome. Thank every one of you for tuning in and subbing and, checking out the videos. It's absolutely awesome. I love getting the comments. I love responding. Hey, if there's something I can help out on the set, let me know. I'll try to remember. I'll try to help you out. I'll go back to videos and be like, oh, that's a piece he's talking about. So, if you like it and you want to keep following what other sets I'm going to build, hit subscribe, follow me on Instagram right here. We're about 540 some followers now. It just keeps getting bigger every day, and that's because of the Lego community. Very supportive, absolutely amazing people on there, a lot of great content creators. So if you want to follow me on there, I always post midweek roughly on what I'm going to build next. So if you can't figure it out in the hint, you have that, and it gives you the full answer, so no guessing needed. And I always drop a video 10 a.m. Eastern time every Friday, unless something comes up, but so far we've been good. I think we're 31 weeks in without not being on Friday, so been pretty consistent with that as well. And once again, thank you for tuning in. I hope you have a great week, and I'll catch you in our next build.